Guys, what's up? So, as you know, I'm an expert vetted talent on Upwork, but I also hire people on Upwork. I run an agency on Upwork. I run a client profile on Upwork. So, I usually post a bunch of jobs and I'm actually hiring on Upwork as well. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm actually going to be showing you a job that I've posted and some of the cover letters that I've actually received, some of the major mistakes that they've made, which is why I've rejected them, and some of the reasons why I've accepted certain candidates. So let's just get into it directly. One thing that I do want to point out is I keep on posting valuable stuff on my LinkedIn, on my Twitter profile. I have posted carousels on optimizing your profile, on obviously making sure how to write cover letters and stuff along those lines. So definitely do check out my LinkedIn and my Twitter. And you're also free to ask me any questions directly on Twitter as well if you're following me. So now that we're done with that, let's just go ahead and actually review some proposals. But even before then, let's just go back and just evaluate what exactly is the client, which is me in this case, requiring of you when you're writing this cover letter. So the first thing I want you to do is, as I mentioned, on top of the cover letter, translate the word. So the translation is the first thing that I expect to see. If it's not the first thing, it's likely that I'm going to reject the proposal because I'm already getting tons of proposals. Sometimes the proposals even reach 50 or 100 or whatever. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense for me to review things that aren't following my cover letter instructions to the T. So that's one. The other thing I want or I need is expert native Arabic speaker with finance experience. Like that's very important. So they should have experience in the finance/exchange space. So that's something relevant as well. The other thing is obviously to translate some Figma screens. So if you actually mention that you have some experience translating screens or doing some work in Figma, that's going to be great as well. So now let's just review some of the proposals. And since I've already hired for this job, as it mentions this post is closed and is no longer accepting proposals, I get a slightly different UI. When the job is usually open, you get a thumbs up and a thumbs down, and that's to indicate whether you're interested in the candidate or not. And what I usually do, or I'm assuming a lot of other clients who are posting on Upwork do the same, if they've required something and they don't see that particular thing directly at the top of the cover letter, they're not even going to open the thing. So what do you actually see here right off the bat? I honestly am going to be very honest, like this 100% job success rate. So I'm an expert vetted talent on Upwork, as a lot of people know. I would say the top rated plus the expert vetted talent, all of that definitely helps, but it's not the most important. What's the most important here is the cover letter, in my personal opinion. So if the cover letter is great, it's great. If it sucks, then it's just completely off. So now let's have a look at some of the cover letters and actually look at the cover letters of some of the archived individual or the people that I've actually thumbs down. So as you can see, it says, I'm Yasser Al Obeid. I don't care who you are. Apologies. I need that translation. It's not here. I don't care about it. This is Muhammad Ibrahim. No translation. It's here. And unfortunately, when I was actually creating this video, I actually checked out that they have a translation, but I actually rejected them even before that because it was not at the top of the cover letter. I have explicitly asked to have that mentioned at the top of the cover letter. If it's not going to be there, I am going to reject it because I may not even read the first paragraph completely to begin with. So I rejected these people because they did not even mention the thing that I've required of them. So that's the most important thing that you need to answer. If there's a question, you need to answer that. If there's a particular phrase or a term that people have mentioned on Upwork, you need to mention that directly at the top of the cover letter. Even if they don't say like mention it at the top of the cover letter, even if they say, like for example, mention banana in your cover letter or something along those lines, you should definitely mention banana as the first word in that cover letter. So that's the reason why I've rejected these candidates, even though they may have been good candidates. But you know, most of these people have earned $0, and that doesn't matter to me. I could have hired someone who actually did the translation well. It doesn't matter to me if they don't have experience on Upwork. That's the least of my concerns. The major concerns is that they're not following my guidelines. So if they're not following my guidelines when applying to the cover letter, how can I even assume that they've read the cover letter? So that's one major mistake a lot of people make. Let's go to all of the other proposals that we have. So this particular proposal, let's just actually open it. So as you can see, this person has mentioned the translation, but I would definitely not hire them, because you need to understand, if that first thing is not there, no one's going to read it. And sometimes even if you don't have all of that, like even if you don't have a requirement for a client, your first paragraph is the most important paragraph. So it needs to cover the things that people have requested. So what have I actually requested in my job? I've requested, and this person has actually done a good job, but they just missed the translation. Even though I think I hired someone even before I got this proposal. What do I actually need? English to Arabic translation. So they mentioned that they have bilingual expertise in English and Arabic. They also have a financial background, so that's great. To assist in translating those Figma screens. So this particular proposal is actually great, but it has missed my requirement. So that sucks. They haven't mentioned the translation at the top. So obviously, even if I haven't hired anyone, I would still not select this. This one, okay. They have mentioned the translation, but they haven't mentioned which particular word is translating which. So obviously that's a minor thing, but they still haven't mentioned the finance experience. They mentioned that they're an Arabic speaker, so that's good, but no finance experience mentioned, no Figma mentioned, declined, probably. I wouldn't say probably, like if the translation is good, I may still hire them. I may still hire someone if... Now, usually what happens is maybe you're getting a Webflow job, you're a Webflow developer, or you're a PHP developer, or you're a designer, and people are requesting, let's say, an experience in the finance field, or let's say in the SaaS field, or something along those lines. Here, in this particular proposal, if someone actually came to me, they first did the translation really well, and I really liked it, and they mentioned that I have experience translating a lot of different applications from English to Arabic. I unfortunately do not have finance experience, but I have a lot of expertise in the translation of English to Arabic. So if you give me a chance, I would be a great fit for this job. And I am willing to do, let's say, a few tests for certain hard words or something along those lines. If they just say that, even if they don't have that finance experience, I may actually still consider them, because first of all, they've established that they've read the job proposal. They've established that they may be lacking in a certain thing, but they're daring enough and courageous enough to mention that to me and not fake around and not be a fake. So, I mean, all of those things, and integrity really matters a lot when you're doing these things. So those are just a few things that I'm just going to go to some of the people that I've messaged. So these are just some of the people that I've actually messaged and some of the people that I've hired. So we can actually go to them, the person that I've hired as well. And let's just see his proposal. So for example, he's mentioned price earning ratio and trading translation. So he mentioned price earning, like imagine this guy, like this guy really knows his stuff. Like what exactly, first of all, obviously he's top rated, so that's good. But apart from the top rated thing, they've actually entered an emoji to highlight exactly what I've requested to bring my attention to it. Isn't that amazing? So they've mentioned that. And then what else have they mentioned? They've also mentioned that in terms of the context and the sentence structure, the translation may be different. Now, this shows me expertise of translation. They're not just basically translating it, they're giving the translation itself a lot of thought, which is great. So they've also mentioned again, like about native Arabic speaker, that's great. They've also mentioned about their experience. Let's talk about finance. They haven't talked anything about like finance here or exchange or anything along those lines, but I mean, just that consideration, these few things actually mattered a lot to me. So I obviously hired this candidate. Let's go with some of the other ones that I've actually shortlisted and I messaged. Now, as you can see, I messaged these people and these were shortlisted and I could have considered them. So price earning ratio, they've mentioned the translation. That's great. Dear recruiter, I'm willing to express my interest and all of that stuff. Now, I didn't select this candidate, even though obviously they are top rated plus and all of that, is because the price was a bit high. And if I can get the same translation or pretty much a similar translation from another person who's cheaper, I would definitely go with the cheaper one. For any of that, I also want to point out that when you're actually applying to jobs, try to apply to the jobs in at least half an hour or 1 hour after it's posted, not after that. That's my own personal opinion, because you usually have a lot of proposals. The client is already shortlisting candidates. He's already talking to candidates. And the likelihood of you getting that job is minimal. Secondly, even if, for example, you're not the first one at the top of the list, you don't have to boost yourself all of the time. It doesn't matter. Even if you're the fifth one and you've written a cover letter, that's fine. Fifth one, sixth one, or even let's say the seventh one, something along those lines, that's fine. Maybe under 10 is okay. But if there are 10 proposals and you're applying after the 10th proposal, you may actually boost your job or boost your proposal. If you are completely sure that you are and qualified enough and this is the perfect opportunity for you and for the client to actually hire you, then do that. Otherwise, just go to the next job. Don't waste your time boosting your proposals and connects on a job that you're not 100% confident that you're not 100% confident of. So that's one thing. The other thing is, so you need to apply to the job within the first hour. That's important. You can boost if you are completely sure about that job. And the cover letter should contain what's required at the top before talking about yourself. So don't tell me how you are. Like, I think like one of the candidates actually did that. So let's just have a look at this one. To begin with, I would like to acquaint you with a brief about myself. My name is Nuruddin and I'm an experienced writer. So just one thing for a lot of individuals, you need to keep your cover letters concise. So mentioning your name again, even though it's mentioned directly at the top, is not really needed. You don't have to do that. You mention I'm an experienced writer and translator from Yemen and with over 7 years experience. That's good. Directly related to business, agriculture and finance. That's amazing. So you already have a lot of important information that's related to my job, and I would ideally request that. Then this person has also mentioned I have a BSc in physics, an associate degree in English linguistic, and nano degree in data analytics. Well, a nano degree in data analytics or a BSc in physics is not really relevant to this job. So try to post things that are relevant to the job itself to keep your cover letter concise. Try to write your cover letter in a concise and precise manner, tackling the exact job. Again, nothing against these people, and I really hope these people actually see my video so they can learn from it, they can grow from it and be a better professional. I'm pretty sure they're great individuals, they're highly skilled and all of that stuff, but when you have a lot of proposals coming in, people don't really have a lot of time to actually read so many things about yourself, especially if they do not particularly apply to the job description or the job post. So that's just a few things that I would like to point out. Now, coming to some of the candidates that I've actually messaged. Now, obviously, I didn't select this candidate as selected. I actually was looking to select this one, even though both of them were really good, but obviously they were cheaper. And if I can get my work done cheaper and the translation is pretty much the same or similar, or I'm happy with it, then that's fine. So why did I not select this candidate? Well, actually, and I mean, maybe there could have been a mistake from my end, but I'm pretty sure there wasn't, but I would still stand with the possibility of that. So nothing against this individual, but let's say, usually that has happened with me before as well. And I'm sure it has happened with other people as well when they're interviewing candidates for a job, not on Upwork, just generally as well. Usually, so I posted a job here, created a Zoom meeting directly on Upwork, and they mentioned that I need the meeting passcode. Now, anyone who's familiar with Upwork knows that if you just click the link of Zoom, you are just going to get in. So they're requesting the meeting passcode. You don't need to request that. You just need to click the link. But I still went ahead and gave that to them. So that was slight thing that obviously did not impress me. Then the other thing was she wasn't able to hear me and my voice wasn't able to go through. So maybe a problem with her speakers or something. I usually have been communicating quite a lot with other people as well. I had a meeting before this meeting as well, a while back before this meeting. So I'm pretty sure my mic was working, though I am open to the possibility, let's say if it wasn't working, but I think it was. But one thing that I just want to illustrate at this point is if you don't have your Zoom correctly set up, you don't have your microphone set up, you don't have your speakers set up, if you're maybe this is the first time you're actually creating a conversation on Upwork and you need to restart your browser or install Zoom and stuff along those lines, I mean, that's definitely disappointing and you don't need to do that. So definitely make sure that your mic, your speakers, and your camera in most cases are actually working really fine with Upwork's Zoom and all of the settings are there. So if someone actually wants to communicate with you, they can easily do that. So that's something that you need to do. The other thing that I've actually faced a lot is people not having a stable internet connection. So when they're in a meeting, they're breaking out and all of that stuff. And I mean, I can hardly understand them. So that's one, obviously, is the connection not being there. The other one is they're in a noisy street, they're in a cafe, or they're in a subway station, or like who knows wherever they are, but it's like completely noisy and you're unable to understand what they're saying. You're just unable to comprehend it. Like you're trying to understand really hard, but I mean, it seems like a waste of time. And this first impression really matters a lot. So if you're not speaking fluently, if you're not in a great presentational manner, you're not dressed properly, let's say you're in your, I don't know, undergarments or something along those lines. I'm talking about men. So maybe they're in like a t-shirt, a sweaty, or like I don't even know what we call it in Urdu, and in Hindi we call it banyan or something along those lines. So if you're in that, definitely that's not impressing anyone. Your first impression with a client really matters a lot. So make sure you're audible. It's your voice is really clear. So definitely invest in a good mic. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a great expensive mic like this one. It can just be the M1 Boya or something along those lines. I think like that's like 1,000 rupees or something in Pakistan, and like I feel like 500 rupees in India or something along those lines. It's really cheap and the quality is good. So definitely invest in a good mic, and yeah, just make sure all of those settings are right. The other thing, once you actually land on a job, the ability to communicate is really important. So I actually had a conversation with this guy on a completely separate job I posted about a full stack React developer. And it seems like this person was a good candidate on paper, but when I actually went on a call with them, it was hard. I was hardly able to understand what they were saying based on their dialect, based on how they were speaking in English. And it seemed to me that this relationship is just not gonna move forward because we're gonna have that communication gap. And I cannot tell you, like, I even reject or don't even pursue not candidates, clients. I don't even pursue clients that have a communication barrier with me, because I feel like, I mean, it's just going to take a lot out of me and we're not going to be able to communicate properly, and it's just going to be a waste of their time and my time. So actually just go ahead and don't even move forward with that client. So, I mean, those are just a few things that you need to understand. So I don't want to make this video any longer than it already has. So do subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter for more tips and tricks, and obviously methods to communicate well and ways to be more successful as a designer and a developer. And I hope to see you there. If you want to ask me any questions directly, you can ask me in the YouTube comments, or you can ask me directly on my Twitter DMs. They're open. And if you want to follow me for more relevant content, follow me on Twitter and follow me on LinkedIn as well. And I'm going to share that in the comments as well. So that's going to be pretty much it. Do subscribe, and I'll see you later. Take care. Bye.